C64 presents a Playguide and video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hey there, welcome to another Lemon 64 play guide and review. In this one we'll be checking out Bomb Jack, which was published by Elite and released in 1986. This is a conversion of an arcade game. Unlike many Elite loaders, it comes with a very unique loading picture and some not so unique music as well. As the tape loads, we can see the blocks remaining ticking off very slowly, and there's around 200 blocks to load on this game, but it does load all the levels up in just the one load. Luckily the levels are pretty straightforward block tiles, and so it doesn't really require too much memory, and well, this music is enough to drive someone up the wall. Thanks to the power of emulation, we're gonna skip that loading, and that's a great mercy because it means we can fast forward and don't just hate it when it counts down all these blocks and then that's not the end of the loading. It continues loading after that and continues loading for a pretty long time as well. Yes, that gets pretty annoying because you think, yep, that's the game loaded, that's the game all finished with, where is it? And the answer is the game is still loading in memory and it won't be finished for some time yet. And that's one of the drawbacks of the tape loader, and it did take some time to load some Commodore 64 games, and people got into the habit of making a cup of tea and basically reading a book and using the lavatory and going down to the shops and buying a newspaper. When they returned, they would find the game has loaded and they can simply dive straight into it and get cracking. The title screen of Bomb Jack is pretty similar to the arcade. At least it gives us a list of the high scores and it gives us a scrolly text along the bottom which tells us the coders and the creators of this game. And you might notice good luck with your new job. Well, the creator of this game, Chris Harvey, that was a reference to his brother Gav, who'd just gotten a new job. And that's, well, pretty useless trivia there. That's why that's on the high score table. And we will be checking out the creators of this game a little bit later on. The aim of Bomb Jack is to simply collect up all the bombs on the screen, and if you can collect those in relatively the correct order, they will flash and you will gain bonus points. And back in the day I used to be able to collect every bomb in the correct order, not so much anymore. You can see ×2 score, which is a bonus that I managed to get during that level. Flashing bees that you can see are bonus tokens, and they will times and multiply our score at the end of each round, and there are 12 rounds in the entire game. So if you can collect those, then that's great for the score. Otherwise the bees can be ignored and the peas need to be collected because they neutralize all the enemies on that screen and also stop the time, so you can go around and collect any of the items and kill any of the enemies. quick quick way to complete any level is to just hang around for that P and to collect that, and if you don't, unfortunately you will die because there are simply too many enemies on that screen eventually to cope with that particular mission. But it means that we can at least collect the last two when we die, and it doesn't refill the whole screen up again from scratch, and that's a good thing. That P means the levels are easy, and that's the easy way to complete any level in this game, and you will find the middle levels are quite so much harder, but then they get easier as the game goes on. And this is round 5, this marks the halfway stage practically in the 12 rounds, and you can see it's pretty easy, but the enemies do gang up, and if you can manage to get through this, which I managed to do back in the day, but unfortunately not on this playthrough, then that opens the door to the second half of the game with more difficult levels, and you have to make it to that point with all lives, and then you stand a chance of getting through it. If you can't, well, you have to find a safe spot, and if you can't do that, then you'll die and you'll have to enter your name on that high score table. I find that this game is fairly random and the music is very repetitive, but sometimes you can lay down a formula and that formula will help you complete the level. But unfortunately, because this game is so random, sometimes you can lose all your lives on the very first level and all you can do is shut the damn game off in disgust. By pressing that fire button rapidly we can also fly, and that helps us get to the very top corners, and by pushing up and fire we can ascend the entire length of that screen. So that's no problem, but one of the birds which follows us around is a problem because that follows our pattern, and sometimes you can make that follow our path and sometimes you can head that off at the pass, but most of the time that stupid bird is to be avoided and it will kill us most of that time. So let's try again for the last time to get somewhere in this game. I find the graphics are reasonably well drawn on this first stage, but can be a bit blocky on the rest, and I think the playability is there and some fun can be had simply marching from round to round. But in general this game does get annoying at some points, and unless you know the correct formula, unless you have a bit of luck, then you will get annoyed and you will find this game is not as good as you hoped it might be. The code for this game was created by Chris Harvey, and he started with 911 Tiger Shark, the appalling game on the C64, and he followed that up with similar classics The Fall Guy in 1984, Paperboy in 1986, and Star Force Nova a bit later on. And the graphics were created by Rory Green, who also created the graphics for Akari Warriors and Commando and Double Dragon 3 and some of those games that we've talked about already. And lastly, the music, well, Mark Cooksey also created music for First Strike, Ghosts and Goblins, Salamander and Space Harrier on the Commodore 64. Luckily we can press fire button to skip the wartime theme, which got transferred into Beans Means Heinz, but that's one of the good factors. You can see I'm dying like flies on this level trying to get through it. Even with all these lives it's pretty darn difficult, and that brings us on to the scores. Zap64 awarded this 47%, Commodore Force gave it 51, Commodore user gave it 60%, the current Lemon score is 68%, and CVG actually gave this game 9 out of 10, which means the average score is 6 out of 10. And that's the end of our look on this game. That's level 6, that's halfway through it, and unfortunately that's not as far as I could get before, but that's as far as I'm going to get right now. So thank you once again for viewing another Lemon 64 play guide and review, and I hope to see you again in the next one for a little bit more rarer game next time. And thank you.